everyone, and welcome to Wine Talk, where we uncork the wine to tell the truth. My name is Chrishon Lampley, owner of Love Cork Screw, and the whole premise of this show is to send Love Cork Screw wine to influencers, wine writers, wine students, just wine experts, sommeliers, everyone within the wine industry that I think are super cool. And I send them a bottle of Love Cork Screw. I have no idea what bottle they're going to get. I seriously don't. I have no idea until we go on record on air. And I just want to talk about it and talk about other things that are happening within the world, not just the wine world, but a little bit of everything. So I am so honored to have Zohna here. And tell me your Instagram handle again.
At In the Drink of an Eye.
In the Drink of an Eye. So I want you all to follow her. I know you guys are huge Love Cork Screw supporters, and you guys know that I always support others. And I always want to bring cool new people, especially within the wine world, to bring them to light, because I think we all can offer so many different things. And I'm just so excited. It always warms my heart to see this space get larger in diversity and inclusion. So super excited. So hi, so I see you got my Pinot Grigio.
Oh yes, you know I have it front and center here. Got my glass ready. I'm loving the bottle.
No, go on. Yes,
I'm loving the
thank
bottle.
you.
Like,
thank you.
Oh my God, good times, good friends. Like this is about to be a bomb wine talk. I'm very excited.
That's exactly why I do it. And that's so funny. That is one of my favorite labels, because that one out of all my labels for me was just, it spoke not only to the consumer about, and you all that are out there, and not only that, I think it's just the most perfect wine to bring to a friend's house, to a gathering. But what I learned in my years in the industry, that people rarely bring a bottle of Pinot Grigio when they go to someone's house.
Think about it. That's so true. They don't.
Follow me here. The perception normally of Pinot is that you're more than likely not going to like it, right? Like the Pinot lovers, the Pinot head, they are just true and true. Give me a glass of Pinot. Then there's everyone else. They're like, I really don't like Pinot Grigio. However, Grigio normally goes with the dishes that are being served at those gatherings. Think about it. Most gatherings serve fish, chicken dishes, salad, tossed salads,
pasta. So it's like the perfect pairing.
The perfect. So
I'm
like, really is like name it Good Times, Good Friends. It is.
I love that. And it's like, it's so universal. You know, this is not only like a wine that you could bring to the table, go with so many food pairings, but it's a wine that would start a conversation. You know, you don't know many people at the dinner party. You bring this, good times, good friends, like, you know, let's get the conversation going. You know,
let's create stories or talk about old stories.
Exactly. Let's reminisce or let's make new ones. Let's talk about new stories.
I would love for you to pour. Tell me your honest opinion.
Okay.
We'll take it from there. We'll have a little bit of talk, a little bit of conversation for a few minutes.
I love this.
So guys, I'm serious. I think this is maybe the 5th or 6th episode I've done. These aren't even aired yet. So by the time you guys see this, you would have seen a few episodes, but I kid you not, I have no idea what bottle everyone receives. One of my great assistants, she ships it out. She doesn't tell me what she's shipping it to everyone. And it always excites me to do this on air and to tell the honest truth. I love it.
Thank you so much for having me on today. I'm so honored to be a guest. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. And I see the shirt that you have on.
Yes.
Is that who that's from? Because I've seen that shirt.
That's from Desiree, the wino shop. Yep.
I did a wine talk with Desiree, and she was absolutely amazing. We had a great time. She is absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. And I bought one of those too.
I love her apparel.
Yeah,
it's just inclusive. They have the future of wine is black. They have so many. She has so many shirts, and I'm like, I just need more. More.
Yeah. I bought that one. I haven't received it yet, but I just bought that one in gray, but with the Future of Wine is black.
Oh, nice.
I had to.
That's the one I want next.
Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Chin chin to life, to the good life, and to our heart beating. Positive vibes. And let me know what you think. Chin chin.
Ooh, I'm loving the pear notes on the nose. That's definitely coming through. Some apple. Ooh. Okay, and I have to say, because Pinot, when I think Pinot, you think light body. This is more of like a medium bodied, and the notes really come through. Like this is not a light bodied Pinot Grigio. This is not your typical Pinot Grigio, which is what I'm really appreciating about this.
You hit it. I would love to hear more. Your next sip.
Oh, and it's like not super acidic. I would say like medium acidity for sure.
You hit it on the nail.
Oh, wow. Look at me.
You hit it on the nail.
I like that it's because sometimes Pinots can be so kind of highly acidic. This is giving me nice balanced acidity. I need another sip.
Please.
Definitely apple and pear. It really is it's a balanced Pinot. This is not like, a light bodied, like I said, Pinot. I'm loving this. I can see this standing up, before you have your food as a standalone wine. And I also can see it being paired with food. That's what I think is so great about this. Because you of course you want a glass of wine before you get to the table, but I think this would be a great wine to just honestly having conversation with some friends, and then we sit down, pair it with some food. Definitely, I think would go great with like a seasonal salad. Definitely like a roast chicken, fish. Like you said, like this is the universal Pinot for me, because I'm not, and I don't go to Pinots usually in the store.
Fair.
So
yes,
you're not normally, like you said, if you're not a Pinot Grigio drinker, you don't necessarily, that's not your go-to. But what I love about this, like I said, is it's more medium body than the usual Pinots that you taste. Some of the Pinot Grigios are just not, they're not it. I love this. Medium body, balanced. It's the fruit for me, like the apple and the pear. This is
you hit it. Like seriously, precisely. That is the reason why I decided to produce that one in Michigan, because I knew those particular grapes were going to give it a little bite, if you will, have a little more meat on its bones. The Pinot Grigios that I had originally tasted, source and finish out of California, just weren't doing it for me. It was my opinion that they were a little watered down for me. They didn't have enough flavor. And I wanted it to not feel that way, that Pinot was only for Pinot lovers. I wanted to feel that someone that is into Chards will enjoy it. Someone that just wants, again, a little more flavorful Pinot would enjoy it.
Robust.
And was that this Pinot is very much to be enjoyed prior to a meal. You can it could be your before drink. And that's what I absolutely love, because I feel that, again, a Pinot, if done right, can be enjoyed and not have to be paired all the time. It can really be a good, delicious, cold, awesome, crisp, dry flavor. It's one of my favorite varietals. That is, for you guys out there, that is one of my number one sellers in Whole Foods. I knew, again, that the title was going to fit exactly what it was. And I wanted to really bring people to bring them to think that, you know what, this is the perfect bottle of wine to accompany me when I go to an event, to someone's house, as a gift. Thus, good times, good friends. So thank you for that. So I want to touch on some things that are happening, that I'm seeing happening in the wine world. And I had a conversation with someone else about it, but I'd love to hear everyone's take on it.
Okay.
What I am loving, I've been in this industry a long time, and what I absolutely love is to see us. I love to see women in BIPOC entering this realm in so many different ways. It's not all about, and I'll say this, and I've said it to before, I'm always transparent to y'all out here. It's not all about just developing your own wine brand. There's so many other moving parts. There's only so many other amazing sides to this industry that are untapped by us, that can make a lot more money than I make. A lot more. So I wanted to get your feeling on where you see this new love for wine headed. Is it I'm old school, so is it the love for wine, or is it a fad? Is it really trying new things? What is it?
I think
attracting people.
I think this is something that's here to stay. I think in the midst of the pandemic, we saw a lot of things kind of come to the surface. We definitely saw people drinking wine. But we also saw a cultural shift of so many things that were kind of going on in the world. You have George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. I mean, the list goes on and on. You saw these atrocities, and it's almost like everybody woke up and it was like, okay, we need to now band together and be a community. And people started looking and saying like, wow, wait, how do we as Black people only make up 1% of the wine industry? I mean, that's crazy. And we as Black people, we're drinking wine. It's not something we're doing. So it's like, okay, now I kind of feel like there was only almost a whole groundswell where community really was emphasized. Black economics, that buy Black economics, support Black owned. You really saw a big push with that over the last 2 years, I'd say. And I kind of feel in regards to just in general of drinking wine, I think that that's something that's just so here to stay. Not only we're seeing it on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all these wine influencers, wine marketing, Black owned brands. We're just seeing a whole groundswell when it comes to wine. Not only has probably our percentage of drinking wine gone sky high, but us in the industry in general has definitely made more of an impact, I would say.
I've been very excited to see a lot of education offered. Yes. When I was coming up in the industry, it was really more grassroots. I wish I had the opportunities then that are offered now, as far as doing your WSET courses online, yes, getting grants to take some of these courses and really learning the ins and outs of wine. We all will never know everything because this is a very, very complicated, difficult industry. You have to be a chemist, if you will, to really get all aspects of wine. But there's so much to be learned, and I'm loving the fact that we're getting those opportunities to do that. What got you into saying, okay, you know what, I'm going to get actually educated in wine and take this to another level?
So I completed my master's at Fordham, and I had the opportunity to travel to South Africa on an economics fellowship. So it was like, okay, a fellowship, you're thinking more academic. It honestly was mostly about wine, because we got to explore vineyards and different wineries in Cape Town, Stellenbosch specifically. I tried my first Chenin Blanc. I'm like, oh, wow, this is amazing. And I just fell in love with the whole process of it. And I had already been pretty passionate. My palate was not as it had not expanded to the point where it's at now, for sure. But friends would always come to me for wine recommendations. So the pandemic happened and I found myself at home, like a lot of people. And I wanted to make this space more approachable, because I found that maybe was not something that was there. Make it approachable for us, that brings a down-to-earth aspect, that includes some wine education, that includes, people don't even know about a lot of these Black-owned brands, to really bring awareness to that. I got involved with the Roots Fund. My friends had seen it on LinkedIn. She was like, oh, girl, you should apply to this. Like, this would be great. Wine education, it's a community. And I got accepted into the Roots Fund. I completed my WSET level 1, about to start level 2. And I love what they're doing, the work that so many of these organizations are doing, like the Roots Fund, where they're pushing wine education, because it is so important. I want to make it approachable, but I also want to be educated on that, in that, and knowledgeable. And I think knowledge is power, especially in this industry.
Yes, it is. And within the industry, I'm also seeing the onset of master sommeliers that are starting to look like us. It's moving at a snail's pace, but I'm still very proud to see it moving. And I remember just a lot of things when I got into the industry of, again, there's not being the other sides of the business with us.
Right.
And it's been amazing, whether it's the law, when it comes to licensing, whether it's again the sommeliers within the industry, whether it be in distribution, it's very hard to come by. But I've been very excited to see it. What are some myths that you have found that maybe you thought?
Okay.
And nothing sounds dumb. I know all of you guys have thought different things out there, so I want you to be real. What myths did you have to crush with wine, pun intended, that you had to crush with wine, that you were like, oh, okay, oh, I get it now?
Okay. Definitely corkscrew versus screw cap. I think that's probably the biggest myth right there. People look down on screw cap wines, but unless you're going to lay your bottle on its side, that it's going to get cork taint. So it's just kind of like, if you want more of a longevity type of wine like that, have the screw cap. I had to get over that myth. That was a big myth for me, because I was like, oh, I don't know about that. It's a screw cap wine. Like,
let's go deeper in that. So your thought was what? That because it's a screw cap, it is not good wine? It's cheap wine? What was
I thought it was, I guess you could say that I definitely thought it was cheaper wine. And I think that's a big misconception. And then when I really started going, I think when I went to South Africa, I had a screw cap wine for the first time, and I was like, wait, so this has nothing to do with anything. Right. Like, this is a whole myth out there. We need to dispel that real quick, because
but this is what I am going to tell you. This is what I'm going to tell you, though. So me being a little older, I'm positive I'm probably a lot older than you, that screw caps in the older generation, the technology they have now, they did not have then.
Okay.
The way that it's sealed and how tightness it's sealed, and or I'll put it this way, how they can adjust the seal now to let a certain amount of air in or not, that would actually adjust to the wine to make it perfect, exactly what it is. So that is what has changed. So the technology years later, outside of when I was first starting to get into the business, has definitely accelerated. So, and I'll contradict a statement by saying that yes, screw caps are cheaper to produce, because it does cost us as producers more money for a cork.
Okay.
So that is, so you are right. I'm not saying you are wrong. You are 100% correct to now. But back then, the technology wasn't the best. So there was a little air getting into some of those wines, and it was just like, okay, just cover it with a lot of sugar and it'll be all right.
Like, people gonna drink it. They're not gonna notice. They're not gonna know. They're not gonna know.
Just we'll do the Zinfandel or whatever, and it'll just be fine. Or we'll just stick it in a box and call it a day. So yes, it is a little different now, but you are right. They also say that a lot of countries outside of the United States are doing more screw caps than anything. And you are 100% right that Africa definitely does that. I have one wine that I think a few wines that I ordered from Chile, screw cap, like it's just no doubt a screw cap.
Right.
But me being old school, and because my company's called Love Cork Screw, it's not called Love Screw Cap. So at the end of the day, I'm probably going to continue to do this. But you are right. But you are right. A screw cap does not necessarily mean poor quality wine at all. It actually particular varietals in aging properly with the amount of air or not that is sealed within the structure. So you are 100% right.
That's very interesting. That's very interesting.
The world has changed. The world of wine has changed. And I mentioned on another episode, but I still want to get, I love getting different takes of some of the same questions that I asked, was I did a news segment about wine cocktails. And I did it specifically to this younger generation. I read a lot about the wine industry to try to keep, ahead of the game and really know what's going on. One thing that you will find on the back of your bottle is I have nutritional value. Most wines do not have nutritional value on their labels. That is one innovative thing that I have started to do. I got that approved by the TTB, and I was very excited to be one of the first to do that. So that is for this younger generation to know what they are consuming and how many calories are going into their bodies. Secondly, these wine, thank you. These wine cocktails, okay? So I was a bartender in my former life. And so I decided to create some wine cocktails, and people go ballistic of these wine cocktails. And for me, and this is my thought process, and I want to get your take on it. For me, I always say, meet a person where they're at. You do not insult me if it's everything is subjective when it comes to a product, when it comes to something you're purchasing, consuming. Yes. I've been in sales 25 years. There's nothing that will insult me. And I always say, meet someone where they're at. So if the younger generation says, I would like to get introduced to wine through a martini, a wine martini or a wine margarita, is that so wrong? When my generation, I'm supposed to be offended by that, right? I'm supposed to be offended by saying you're ruining the true taste of the varietal, and you should really enjoy the wine in the process and how complicated and or amazing this particular wine is. How do you feel about introduction in different ways, and what's your thoughts on that?
I think we got to be all inclusive when it comes to wine cocktails. And if that's how people want to consume the wine, I think we got to go with it. I personally am a huge fan of wine cocktails. Like when I go to like a brunch on a Sunday, I want like a Prosecco cocktail, or, a champagne cocktail, a wine cocktail, some sangria, like something. And I think it might be because this younger generation, we just really like to drink. I think that that might be part of it.
Yeah.
So I think that might be a big part of it. But I think, to get somebody interested in wine and however they need to consume that, I think a wine martini like that's different. I don't know if I would want that, but if that's how a person is going to, maybe that's how they start to cure their palate. I don't know. It could be, how they get into wine. Start with a wine cocktail and then this is the base of that cocktail. Why don't you just try it on its own? Because it's an amazing wine. I think it's all about creating inclusivity and access to the world of wine. And I think that has to, we can't, like you said, you're not offended if somebody, has brought your wine and then they're going to use it for a cocktail. Like, okay, whatever fits your boat. And I think we have to be more open to that world, because I do think cocktails, I think we also saw in the pandemic as well, we saw people doing to-go cocktails. I mean, when was that ever a thing?
Like what's happening right now, it was so funny because I felt like an old woman, because I'm like, no, you're not supposed to do that. That's like it's like drinking while you're driving. Like I just could not wrap my mind around that concept of I can go pick up a sangria, drink right quick and head home. Like that's just, I'm baffled by that. So now that we're about The world is about to open up. Here in Chicago, I just received an email that they're lifting the mask mandates and that we can start being almost normal. You know, in my mind,
Right.
I say that nothing will ever go back to being exactly the same. That's my
I
mind.
agree.
But what do you think about these? I know this is happening in Chicago, in your area, but there was a lot of restaurants that closed, a lot of wine bars that didn't last, a lot of tasting rooms that are no more. What do you think is going to happen just in the next few years about that?
I think we're going to see, I think it's going to open up again. I think we're going to see more restaurants, more wine bars open up. I think we'll also see more of us in this space. I think that we as a people, we became very like, not that we haven't always been entrepreneurial, but we really saw a big boom in the pandemic.
Yes.
So I think that a lot of people may be formulating business plans. I think the restaurant business is definitely going to come back. I think they should still do the outdoor dining option. That's just personally how I feel. I know that's something going back and forth here in New York. But I think that, you know, I think it is going to open up again. I think that we need to, you know, the wine bars, the restaurant, we got to support them however we can. And I think that, you know, by opening it back up, you know, offering indoor, outdoor delivery. And I think also by restaurants offering like wine for like by the bottle to sell, you know, for people that don't still want to come out of the house. I think that's also going to be a big market they need to still keep pursuing.
Agreed. It's so funny. You're in New York, one of my favorite accounts. I had just got an email from them like minutes before we jumped on of reordering Happy Cork. They're in Brooklyn.
I love Happy Cork. Sunshine. Amazing. And everybody there over at Happy Cork.
Shout out to Happy Cork, Sunshine, a huge supporter of Love Cork Screw from the very beginning. I remember before she even opened, she said I was one of the first brands that responded to her and said, yes, I'm in. So definitely shout out to that. And New York has been amazing to Love Cork Screw. And I'm just very blessed to be growing around the state nationally. So around the world nationally, around the country nationally. So I just want to just say, hey, I'm putting it out there. I'm going to grow around the world. So that I was meant to say that. So tell me what's next for you.
So I'm actually in the midst of putting together my first wine tasting, keeping it small, but my first wine tasting, so I'm very excited. Also planning on launching a website, planning on launching a wine shop tour where I go into different wine shops and just kind of see different wines that they specialize in, what types of varietals, Black owned, woman owned, just unique wine shops that, you know, you should go to around and explore around the city. Cause there's so much to do in the city, but people don't know where to start. So I want to kind of create that guide for people. So that's definitely what's next. Wine tasting, of course, more wine reviews, more cocktails. Like I said, I try to keep it approachable and keep it as down to earth and fun as possible, but also educate people at the same time.
So and please tell everyone where to find you.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram, the gram at In the Drink of an Eye. My name is Zohna. And like I said, come join the fun and the fam. I try to keep it lit over there.
Thank you so much, Zohna. You've been so much fun, so much.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Anything I can do for you, any support I can give, I will. And by all means, reach out at any time, and I'm there for you.
Thank you.
And good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck. Godspeed, and thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. I'm going to go enjoy the rest of this wine.
Please. Cheers.
Cheers.